Broadcasting from the deserts of sunny Arizona, you're listening to I've Got a Plan, hosted by Tim Fiskus, a podcast focusing on the two-player experience of Arkham Horror the card game. Join me as I take two investigators through a campaign, stopping along the way to talk tactics, strategy, and whine about the whims of the Chaos Bag. Let's have fun! Hello and welcome back to I've Got a Plan. We are embarking to Paris for the first scenario that takes place in the city of Paris in the Return to Path To Carcosa campaign. We are starting up the Return to a Phantom of Truth. This scenario takes place around the city of Paris, literally around the city of Paris. We have a rail route that runs in a circle all the way around, and as somebody who has lived very near and spent a lot of time in Paris, I really kind of appreciated all the selections of locations that they picked and how they're geographically aligned. It's pretty cool. This scenario is one of the scenarios that branches and plays very differently depending on which path, conviction or doubt you have taken in the Path to Carcosa. And I'm going to assume, this is a blind playthrough, but I'm going to assume that the same is true for the Return to Path to Carcosa. I certainly know it will be governed by doubt or conviction. I've already done the setup. But as far as what the new stuff gets added, I don't quite know what that's going to be. We have a lot of new locations. I have randomized the new locations in with the old ones, so I don't know whether we're going to see new or old locations. The only location that is guaranteed to be the same as the original is the Gare d'Orsay, which is the train station where we are normally starting in, but because we interviewed Mr. Jordan, we are down here starting in Montparnasse. And we will also start with 3 extra resources. That's the bonus for having interviewed him in The Last King, which was 3 scenarios ago. So we are both starting with 8 resources, which is very nice, especially for Mark. Honestly, for both of them, because they have a little bit of early game setup to do before they can get rolling. And we are going to be hoping to survive 3 nights against the Organist. The Organist is the big baddie in this particular scenario, and he is either chasing you and you have to survive, or you are chasing him and you have to kill him, or take him out or subdue him or whatever, however you want to call it. But we are not doing that one. We are in the conviction route. Our conviction to doubt is 1 more, 4 to 3. So, or maybe it's 3 to 2. I think it's 3 to 2. And so we are heading down the conviction pathway, which is to survive 3 nights. We have also, at the beginning of this scenario, there is a long thing called a dream sequence that will make changes to your character's decks and will tell different stories depending on the choices that you've made so far in the campaign. And because we have dealt with the Man in the Pallid Mask 4 times, and because we fled the dinner party in The Last King, nothing really all that much happens to us in the dream sequence, other than some interesting story about the Man in the Pallid Mask. We did have to shuffle in a new weakness into our deck, which is called Lost Soul, which I'll show you here. This is now part of both investigators' decks. No choices there. Everybody's got to put that in. No changes to the Chaos Bag other than the 2 Elder Things, which went in at the end of the last scenario because of our success in the Unspeakable Oath. Hooray for us. We survived the Unspeakable Oath, and that means we get to live a little longer. This scenario is definitely difficult, but you are not going to suffer too much more than maybe a trauma if things go badly here, other than some story implications. Let's talk a little bit about what Mark and Lola have done to their decks going forward as we head into this scenario. Mark had 3 XP to spend, and he spent all 3 of it on a level 3 enchanted blade, the second copy of that. So I removed from the deck a handcuffs and put in a level 3 enchanted blade, which is a pretty darn good upgrade. And Lola had 4 XP to spend, plus she has adaptable, so there were quite a few changes to her deck. With the 2 XP from adaptable, I put in 2 copies of newspaper. Now, newspaper is a bit of a rough call for Lola because she wants to spend her off turns in Survivor, which puts the newspaper at risk of being lost. However, this scenario also requires you to get and spend clues a lot, and it's a good clue accelerator for Lola. Even if she ends up losing it, it only costs 1 resource to put into play, and it can be a good way for her to be able to boost that intellect to grab some clues early on. So two copies of newspaper went in, and I also put in a crystalline elder sign, which a holy rosary was taken out for that. So we swapped out necklaces essentially to a crystalline elder sign, which is a 3 XP purchase. And then I also upgraded a magnifying glass. The level 1 magnifying glass costs 1 resource less, so it's free, it's fast, and you can, as a fast action, pull it back into your hand. Lola's starting to have, with the newspaper especially, a lot more things available for her hand slots, and I don't want to play this with the 3rd hand yet again for this scenario. I think I made all the requisite jokes for that in my last video. So Lola's got a flash or a magnifying glass that she can zip back into her hand if she needs to. That does, of course, mean that she has to be in Seeker, but typically she wants to spend her mid-turn in Seeker anyway. And I rotated out a drawing thin for that. So those are the changes to Lola's deck and Mark's decks. And we're going to be ready to head out here. The only setup differences here are that I start in Montparnasse, which is down here at the southern part of the map. It has 2 resources. Montparnasse has 2 Shroud and 2 resources. And it has the action, free action, discard a card from your hand, gain resources equal to the number of willpower icons on the discarded card, limit once per round per player. So this will be an opportunity to make some quick cash if we get a card that seems to work for that. But neither of my characters are mystics and don't really want to toss their willpower icons for money. They'd rather toss them for staying alive throughout the 3 nights in Paris we need to make it through. 2 clues there, 2 shrouds, so that's something that maybe Mark can pick up with a little bit of damage soak at the beginning with Sophie, but we'll see how our starting hands look. I think that's pretty much it, so let's go ahead and get started and draw a couple starting hands. Oh, before we do that, let's talk real quick about the scenario. All right, so I'm going to show you the scenario card here. Phantom of Truth played on standard. The skulls are -X, where X is the amount of doom in play. So that can escalate quickly. And then we also have Elder Things, which are -2. If you fail, lose a resource for each point you failed by. So that's not bad at all. So -2 is usually somewhere that you're sitting on a test anyway. 2 up is pretty standard. So I'm not really too worried about those tablet or those Elder Things, but the skulls can definitely get nasty, and we have to take that into account when we're taking tests. We're going to need to survive some night gaunts. We're going to need to get away from the or delay the Organist, and that's going to require clues. So it's going to be time to head out and get some clues. Let's draw a couple starting hands. For Mark, he has a 5-card starting hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's see what we got. We have a well-maintained, a reliable, a venturer, my grenades, wow, and let me handle this. Okay, well, the grenades, the venturer, the reliable, and the well-maintained are all a combo together, so that's pretty sweet to have drawn that right off the bat, and with enough money right off front to play it all. And then I'll let me handle this to take care of monsters that might be bogging Lola down. No, I'm not changing any of that. That looks terrific. It doesn't get me any clue power, nor does it have any healing, but the Venturer does have a little bit of soak. Yeah, okay. Well, we'll just keep that hand. That's very nice. Very playable early, even. All right, and then Lola's starting hand, which is 7 cards because of her 2 copies of Studious. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And we are looking at Prepared for the Worst. Crystalline Elder Sign, excellent. Look What I Found. Newspaper, okay, so there's my sub-in for this scenario. Take the initiative, a 45 automatic, and hyper awareness, level 0. Okay. Well, I need to get clues. Mark's geared up to do the firepower, so I need clues. So I'm going to keep the crystalline elder sign, the look what I found in the newspaper. Yeah, for sure. And I'm going to toss back... take the initiative is interesting. I want to get some more set up here. Do I keep the prepared for the worst? No, I think with Mark's combo, I think we're pretty good here. I'm going to toss that back too. Let's draw 4 new cards. I don't want any of those. So our 4 new cards are 1, 2, 3, 4. Perseverance. Another look what I found. Okay, well, we've got a nice survivor setup. A Silver Twilight Acolyte and a Crisis of Identity. These are both weaknesses, so those are going to get set aside. And I'll draw 2 new cards, which are Unexpected Courage and Emergency Cash. Okay, so I have a hand that is 4 red cards, 1 purple, 4 survivors, 1 mystic, and 2 neutrals. So that takes a little bit of pressure off my switching at the beginning. Let's go ahead and get these decks, or this deck, reshuffled. Okay, decks are shuffled. Let's go ahead and start Lola in what? I'm going to want to get that newspaper out. I also want to get the crystalline elder sign out. But I'm going to want to protect the crystalline elder sign more than the newspaper. So I will start in Mystic. This little tracker here, for those of you that haven't watched my videos before, keeps track of what role I'm in at any given time. They run in order as the packs go: Guardian, Seeker, Rogue, Mystic, and Survivor. There's also a neutral spot, and then one that I use to mark whenever I am, I have made my switch for the turn. I'll hold it up so you can see it. Apologies that it's a little shiny. It's made of tin. So hopefully you can see that on the video. But I'm going to be starting in Mystic. All right. So let's go ahead and get going here. Oh, let's talk a little bit about the act and the agenda. What the heck are we even up to? Agenda 1A, the first night. As you step off the train in Gare d'Orsay, the sun sinks below the Paris skyline. You cannot waste any time. If Nigel Ingram is somewhere in Paris, you have to find him and wring the answers from him one way or another. While you have more conviction than doubt, which I do, this agenda gains when checking the doom threshold. Doom on cards other than this agenda subtract from the total doom in play instead of adding to it. So we need to get rid of other doom as a priority because we need to get going. We need to blow through these agendas as fast as we can. That's our goal. Speaking of which, Act 1A, The Parisian Conspiracy, version 2. You pass the Church of St. Barnabé as you exit the train station and cannot help but overhear the organ playing. Is there a sermon this late in the evening? You marvel at the wild and strange chords for a moment before continuing. Paris is a big city, and you have very few leads. Objective, spend the requisite number of clues to advance, which is 4. Or objective at the end of the round, if there are 3 or more doom in play, advance. So essentially we're on a little short clock here right at the beginning. We've got to get 4 clues, hopefully before 3 doom get in play, because the next step of the game gets a little bit trickier if we ended up getting doomed before we got taken care of from the 4 clues. So it seems like 4 clues are gettable with our current setup, but let's go ahead and get that started. Let's put our 8 resources and our friendship with Mr. Jordan to play. Jordan Perry, I believe is his name. All right. So let's go ahead and start with Lola, because that'll determine what I do with Mark. So Lola is going to spend her first action in Mystic to play the Crystalline Elder Sign. That's for sure. Let's get that in play. That is going to seal the +1. I'm not going to be a jerk and seal the Elder Sign. That would be patently ridiculous when I'm playing by myself. All right, the +1 is sealed on the Crystalline Elder Sign. And Lola's stats are now base 4 all the way across. So she's got 4 of everything, which is a great place to be. All right, and then being 4 of everything, let's go ahead and let's head out. I'm going to switch into Survivor. I'm going to play a newspaper, which will give me a 6 investigation if I have no clues. So that'll at least get me 1 investigation at 6. And then I will spend my 3rd action, sorry, that was 2 actions, to play cards. And then I'm going to move out of here. I'm going to go ahead and head up to, let's see, the Gardens of Luxembourg is usually a victory point location. Let's go up there and check that out. So I'll move up here to the Gardens of Luxembourg, which reads, "The Gardens of Luxembourg Palace contain hundreds of scattered statues, monuments, and fountains. It would make for a relaxing walk if you hadn't come here to escape the winged creatures that screech and soar in the dark sky overhead." All right, this is the one from the original set. 3 shroud, 2 clue location. While a Bayaki enemy is moving, if there is an investigator at the Gardens of Luxembourg, that enemy's location is considered to be connected to the Gardens of Luxembourg. Okay, so they like to fly there and land on top of the statues as pictured. And that has 2 clues and 3 shroud, which seems gettable. All right, Lola's there for her 3rd action, and that's the end of Lola's turn. Oh, I didn't pay for the newspaper. Okay, that leaves me with 4 resources remaining. And then Mark's first turn, I'll just definitely lay Lola down here. Mark's first turn, we're just going to do a little setup here. Let's go ahead and spend my 1st action and play Adventurer for 4. He comes into play with 3 supplies. 1, 2, 3. And then I will spend, that's 4 resources. I will spend a 2nd action and I will play some grenades. The grenades also come into play with 3 supplies. 1, 2, 3. That costs another 3 resources. And then for a fast action, we're going to go ahead and make those grenades reliable, so they have +1 to the attack. And we'll go ahead and make them well maintained as well. So that is a very nice little set of grenades. That's sort of the combo I'm going for with Mark anyway, so I happen to draw it all right up front. Hooray! Now that's only 2 actions. So let's go ahead and spend my 3rd action to try to grab some clues from here. I am at 2 to 2, so I will take a damage and use Sophie to go 4 to 2. And that damage that I take from Sophie lets me draw a card. So I drew a 32 Colt. All right, I don't think I'll need that, as the grenades are likely going to be good enough until the Venturer runs dry. And even then I can replay them, so how about that? And I'll be investigating at 4 to 2. So 4 to 2 to try to get a clue here in Montparnasse. And out of the bag comes a 0. All right, so I grab a clue. That's 1 down out of the 4 that I need to advance. Did anything there cost me a resource? Yes, the reliable cost me a resource. So Mark actually spent all 8 of his resources right up front. But he is ready for enemies. All right, there are no enemies in play, so we're going to skip the enemy phase, and we're going to go ahead and advance to upkeep. So Mark will reset, and we'll draw. On the hunt. Okay, well that certainly seems like a good choice. And I'll take a resource, which I will almost certainly use to play on the hunt. There's no sense in not hunting down enemies and getting them out now while I can. Mark's got plenty of firepower at high chances, and get him thin out the deck so that we're dealing with the Organist and only the Organist when he shows up. And then Lola will reset and hopefully not draw her weakness. She drew another emergency cash. Okay, so that's 2 emergency caches. So she's sitting on a decent amount of money. So it'd be nice to draw one of those hyper awarenesses, kind of stock up on money, and then use that to be dodgy. That seems to be a pretty good plan, if I can pull it off. And Lola resets her action choices as well. And that's the end of the round. All right, next round, we're going to put Doom 1 of 6 on the agenda 1A, and we're going to draw a couple encounter cards. So let's see, lead investigator is Mark, and I'm going to play On the Hunt with Mark. So that'll cost me 1. Fast, when you would draw an encounter card during the Mythos phase, instead search the top 9 cards, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Top 9 cards of the encounter deck for an enemy, spawn it engaged with you, and shuffle the encounter deck. All right, so let's see. I've got a Stealthy Bayaki as an option, and that's it. That's the only one I got, so how about that one? I will take a Stealthy Bayaki, and then I will shuffle the encounter deck. Okay, the Stealthy Bayaki is a 5-fight, 3 evade, 2 health enemy, which is a hunter, Monster Bayaki Hunter, and he is has the text, while Stealthy Bayaki is exhausted, it gets -3 fight. So that would make it a 2/2/3, which is pretty good, but honestly, 5/2/3 ain't bad for Mark either. So that's 1 grenade will take that thing out, and that puts me right about where I want to be. And then Lola's encounter card is Hunting Shadow. Peril, you must either spend a clue or take 2 damage. I do not have a clue, so I have to take 2 damage. Now I will have to be conscious of that and either heal a little bit or get some soak out there, because 2 more of those, and there are 2 more of these in the deck, will kill her. So I'll have to be careful and make sure that I don't stick around with too many 0 clue situations. Though, if I get hit with one of those and have a clue, it will re-trigger newspaper, so as long as I only have 1 clue. So that's not a bad idea. We'll see how that goes. Didn't have time to prepare for that so far this game. But let's go ahead and move on to the investigation phase. All right, Mark's situation seems pretty straightforward, so let's go ahead and deal with him first. I will... let's see. I will go ahead and just spend my first action and toss a grenade at the Stealthy Bayaki. All right, the grenade is +2 fight for this attack, and that's +3 fight for this attack because of the reliable. And then let's see, we'll deal 2 damage to each enemy and each other investigator in this location. So that'll be just the Stealthy Bayaki. So I'm at 5 fight, plus an additional 3 is 8 to 5 on this attack, and I will just let that be at 8 to 5. And I drew myself a -2. All right, so good enough. That will kaboom, blowy, bam. The Stealthy Bayaki is destroyed. He was stealthy, but not stealthy enough. I will go ahead and exhaust the Venturer and move a supply over to the grenades. That does not cost an action. So I'll keep those topped up. And let's see, I've got 2 actions remaining. Let's go ahead and investigate. I will take a damage with Mark and pump up his investigate with Sophie. And that'll be a 4 to 2 on the investigate, and I draw a card. And I drew an emergency cash, all right? And as I have no money, that's probably a good thing to play. But let's see how this goes first. 4 to 2 on the investigation. I drew an Elder Thing. That is, let's see, -2. If you fail, okay, I did not fail. Right, because +2 is the place to be. All right, so Mark grabs that second clue, putting him at 2 clues out of the 4 that we need. And we really could use to get all 4 of these done by the end of next round, but we're looking in pretty good shape there. And Mark has one more action available. I will do what? What do I want to do here? I don't really need the emergency cash right now. I'd like to scout a little bit for clue potential. I know that Père-Lachaise is typically a pretty low shroud location. La Murée is not terrible for shroud either. Garde d'Orsay and Opera Garnier over here on this side tend to be a little larger shrouds. So I'm going to go ahead and send Mark up here to Notre Dame. Now let's see which Notre Dame this is. We have a new one. Could be the new one. It is the new one. All right. Each enemy at Notre Dame gets -1 fight and +1 evade. -1 fight. Oh no, this is the old one. This is the old one. 3 shroud, 2 clues. Test willpower 6. LOL. If you succeed, either place a doom on the current agenda or remove a doom from the current agenda. Okay, so you can advance or slow the clock down depending on how you might want to make that happen. And we're going to get 2 clues there at 3 shroud. And that's Mark's 3 actions. Attack, investigate, and move. All right, over to Lola, who is in Survivor, and I would like to be in Survivor as well. I'll stay there. And let's go ahead and investigate. I will investigate this at 6 to 3. Oh, goodness. Threw it across the room. It was an Elder Sign. That's how exciting I was. Yeah, Elder Sign is cool. That's +2, plenty of success there. So she'll grab a clue. And her Elder Sign allows her to switch roles for free if she would like to. I have only Survivor and Neutral cards in my hand. But I might as well duck out of Survivor to protect my newspaper. So I will go ahead and switch into Guardian. I don't have any reason for that, but why not? I'll switch to Guardian, and then I'm going to investigate one more time. And I will investigate with an unexpected courage. Let's make this happen. I'm going to send this at 6 to 3 again. Those are really, really good odds. And I get a skull, which is the number of doom in play, which is only 1, -1. All right, so that's successful. Wasted an unexpected courage on that, actually. I suppose I could have thought about that, because if I had drawn a Elder thing, I would have missed it. And that's fine. Unexpected courage for a clue is a pretty good deal. And that gives us the 4 clues necessary to advance. But I don't think I want to just yet. Let's not advance too hastily here. With only 1 action remaining with Lola, that seems like I'm asking for trouble that way. Let's go ahead and join Mark over at the Gardens of Luxembourg. Or from the Gardens of Luxembourg over to Notre Dame. So we'll move over there and hang out together. Yeah, it doesn't matter right now. I'll stay in Guardian. That's fine. If I draw something like a Take the Initiative or something, I'll be glad I have it. And that's it. So then we go to the enemy phase. There are no enemies. And then we untap and get going here. So the Venturer comes back. Mark's actions come back. And Mark draws a shortcut. All right, happy to have that. And Lola resets and draws 45 automatic. How about that? A Guardian card right after I said that. Though I don't think that's what I want to spend 4 resources on. But I'll hold it in case I need it in a pinch. And I'll take a resource putting me at 5. Mark has 1. I also have 3 emergency caches between the 2 of us. So we've got some money sitting around. And that's the end of the round. Next round, Doom number 2 of 6 on the agenda. And Mark's card is Hunted by a Key. All right, that seems like the right thing for Mark. Test Evade or Agility 6. If you fail, reveal the top X cards of the encounter deck. All right, we'll just go ahead and test this straight up. the worst thing that's going to happen is we're going to potentially get a buy a key and a horror. Let's see. I drew a 0, so I failed by 3. Reveal the top 3 cards of the encounter deck. 1, 2, 3. And there are no Bayaki in this top 3 cards. If at least one omen is revealed by this effect, take a horror. And I did reveal 2 omens, so I will take 1 horror, which I will put on the Venturer. And then I have to reshuffle the encounter deck. All right, and Lola's card is going to be the Sign of Hastur. This is a new one from Return to. Peril, attach the Sign of Hastur to either the current agenda or the current act. Limit 1 per agenda or act. Forced each time an investigator takes 1 or more horror, he or she takes an additional horror. Okay, well, I'm about to advance the act, so I will attach that to the act and say thank you very much encounter deck. And that is the end of the Mythos phase, and let's go into the investigation phase. And before I decide who's going to go first here, let's go ahead and advance the act. I will spend 4 clues, discard the Sign of Hastur. Okay, quick programming note for anyone playing along here. I just made a big mistake. And that big mistake wasn't immediately obvious to me until I started questioning how I was pronouncing Hastur. And then I realized I should not be saying Hastur. I took the oath in the unspeakable oath. So I just said it twice. And I'm going to play by the rules here and take a couple horror. So I don't even remember what the rules are. I think, do I take 1? I think you take 1 horror. It's not everybody takes a horror. I think it's just the person who said it, which of course would be me playing two-handed. I don't know. I think it's 1 horror per saying of that. I'll look it up between recording. But I will take 1 horror each with Mark and with Lola and call that a big oops, and I will not say the H word anymore. All right, mistake rectified, and we're moving on to Act 1B, True Evil. If you spent clues to advance, and I did, in fact, I need to do that, spend 4 clues. The organ you heard earlier continues to haunt you. No matter where you are, the torturous chords play over and over in your head. The sensation that you are being watched tugs at your mind. Spawn the set-aside the Organist enemy at the location farthest from all investigators. Hopeless I defied him, side face up. Advance to Act 2A, Stalked by Shadows. All right, Hopeless I defied him, side up. Now, in the Return to, you have to shuffle 2 new cards into the deck at that exact same time. I think they shuffle into the deck, yes? Along with the encounter discard pile. All right. So Hopeless I defied him, side in play. At the location farthest from all investigators. All right, so these 2 cards go into the deck and get shuffled along with the encounter discard pile. I'll do that first. All right, the deck is all shuffled up, and we are ready to begin the investigation phase for real this time. Let's see, how do I want to handle this? Let's go first with Lola. She's back to having 6 investigate ability. Oh, I didn't read Act 2A. Let's read that because that's important. Reaction. Spend 2 clues as a group. Oh, this is called Stalked by Shadows. I knew that every time I met him brought him nearer to the accomplishment of his purpose and my fate, and still I tried to save myself. Robert W. Chambers in The Court of the Dragon, The King in Yellow. As a reaction, spend 2 clues as a group. Either place 1 doom on the current agenda or automatically evade the Organist. So the Organist is trying to chase us down. He deals 3 sanity damage, 3 horror if he hits you, which is obviously just horrible. Horrible. So you want to avoid that if at all possible. And our objective is to survive 3 nights. Do not advance until you are instructed. So survive 3 nights. We are in the very kind of beginning middle of the first night. So we got a bit of a slog here ahead of us, but let's see if we can't just keep away from the Organist while we're at it. So we are 3 spaces away from the Organist, who hunts twice if he becomes unengaged. So we do need to be aware of the fact that he can get 2 spaces, but we're in a bit of a loop here. So if we're just careful with movement, we can stay away from him, at least for a little while, and try to push time along by spending clues. So to that end, let's go first with Lola, and I will investigate at 6 to 3. First, before I do that, I will switch into Guardian. I'll make that into Survivor. From Guardian to Survivor, I'll make that switch right now so I can play Look What I Found if I fail this. 6 to 3 is pretty good though. And I drew a skull, which is the number of doom in play, which is 2 right now. So I passed it, so I get a clue. So I get one of the 2 clues on Notre Dame, which shuts down the newspaper. But that's okay. I will go ahead and investigate again at 4 to 3. I'm not gonna pump this. 4 to 3. And I drew another skull, which is a -2, I believe. Yeah, -2. So that's no good. And I will just try that one more time at 6 to 3, or 4 to 3. And 4 to 3 gets me, well, a -4. That's no good. All right, so now I have to decide. Right now I don't have to decide because I can't play Look What I Found on a -4. But I need to decide if I want to just keep pushing this next round or just waste one of my Look What I Founds on a single clue. And we'll decide later. So that's all I'm able to do this round, is just get 1 clue. But I'm far enough away from the Organist that doesn't matter too much right now. And then Mark is going to do what? I don't have any enemies to kill, so maybe I'll scout for a couple easy clues. Let's go ahead and head up to La Marais. And La Marais says, this historic district has recently become less aristocratic, but the old architectural masterwork remains. All right, this is also a 3-shroud location with 2 clues. And this says, as an action, when your turn begins, if you are in La Marais, draw a card. All right, well, that's kind of nice. All right, so 2 clues and 3 shroud on that one as well. And then for Mark's second action, I'm going to go ahead and move into Père-Lachaise Cemetery. So Père-Lachaise says, the largest cemetery in Paris and its first garden cemetery. Père-Lachaise is as beautiful as it is haunting. And I've been there a number of times, and it is a very beautiful cemetery. Many notable people buried in that cemetery. The ones that I can think of off the top of my head are Bizet and Chopin and Jim Morrison, of all people, who lived in Paris for a lot of his later part of his life. And also, who else is buried there? Oscar Wilde. Yeah, a number of interesting characters. So we are at let's look at this, the back side. Oh, okay, 2 shroud and 4 clues. Forced, after an enemy moves into Père-Lachaise, oh, this is one of the new ones. It gets +1 horror value for the remainder of the round. Ooh, you don't want to get caught there by the Organist. Suppose that's thematic. And it's 2 shroud and 4 clues. 2, 3, 4. That seems like a nice little gold mine there. That's Mark's second action. And I think we will camp right there. And let's try to grab a clue. I will take 1 more damage, putting me at 3 damage. And try to get a clue at 4 to 2. Oops, and lost the token. All right, 4 to 2, and I have to draw a card off of Sophie. So let's do that. I drew the home front. This is Mark's signature asset. Lets him deal an extra damage to an enemy. All right, so this is going to be 4 to 2 on this investigate. And out of the bag comes a -2. All right, good. Mark grabs another clue. And that is the end of the investigation phase. Enemy phase, the Organist is going to hunt, and he's going to hunt, let's see, he's 2 spaces away, 3 spaces away from Lola and Mark. He does not have a prey instruction. So I can send him any way I want, as long as he's moving closer. I'm gonna send him into the Gardens of Luxembourg, because I'm gonna plan on moving north with Lola. So I'm going to move him to Gare d'Orsay and then the Gardens of Luxembourg, which puts him 2 spaces away, or 1 space away from Lola. So that is an okay hunt. And that is the end of the enemy phase. So we reset. Mark's card is the Enchanted Blade, level 3. That is nice. Let him heal some horror if he ends up getting it. I don't have any hand slots taken up, so that seems like a nice thing to get ready to play. Though the grenades are also looking quite robust right now. Might also commit that. It does have an intellect icon, so I could commit that for an investigation. Seems almost sacrilegious to do that, but we need clues. And then Lola's it resets, and her card is an art student. Boy, is that good timing. That's super cool. All right. That's pretty great. And she'll reset there. And we both take a resource, putting Mark at 2 and Lola at 6. All right, next round, Doom 3 out of 6. Come on, Doom, let's get moving, let's get moving. And Mark's encounter card is... Oh yes, the Spires of Carcosa. This is bad for us. Although at least it's on a low shroud location. All right, so that's gonna go here. And the Spires of Carcosa reads, attach to your location, then put 2 Doom on that location. Which seems good, right? Because you got 2 extra Doom in play, which puts you closer. No. Doom on anything other than the encounter card, or the agenda card, counts against the Doom threshold, not for it. So we're actually back at 1. So we need to clear those 2 off of there ASAP. And on the success, you only get to remove, even if you succeed at getting multiple clues, you only get to remove 1 Doom. So we need to make that a priority for sure. And then Lola's encounter card. Another Sign of Hastur. Well, this will attach to, this is the one that will make you take an additional horror. I will attach this to the agenda because we won't be advancing the act for a long time. And then let's get to work. All right, investigation phase. Let's see here. So Mark, I do have a little bit of play with using, I could really use some healing is what I could use, so I could just boost my investigate a little bit more. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and start with Mark. This is a tough call. I will go ahead and spend my first action with Mark to take a damage on the Venturer and boost with Sophie. Can't do that. I have to take that as a direct damage. So I will take a direct damage and boost with Sophie, and I will draw a card, which is a Dynamite Blast, which is good in a lot of cases, but right now not helpful, because the Organist can't be injured. And then I'm investigating this at 4-2, trying to remove one of those dooms. And I drew a -1, so that's successful. So I will take one of the doom off the location. All right, that's action 1. Let's see. Let's scout ahead a little bit here. I'm gonna move out to Canal Saint-Martin. Yeah, I'm gonna move out there. Canal Saint-Martin reads, this underground canal connects the River Seine to the Canal de l'Oc. An old cracked staircase leads down to the canal's entrance. This is a 3 shroud, 2 clue location, which is a victory point location. And this is the new one. While you are at Canal Saint-Martin, you must use your strength in place of your agility and vice versa. Oh, interesting. So great place for me to evade the Organist if I needed to with Mark. But another 3 shroud location for getting clues, which is not ideal for Mark. 3 shroud, 2 clues. And that was my second action with Mark. And then for my third action, I'm now out of range of the Organist. So let's just go ahead and play an emergency cash and get 3 resources, putting me at 5. Okay, Lola. I would like to get that art student in play for sure. I'm going to try to be efficient here. I'm going to move up 2 spaces to where Mark is. Then my first 2 actions will be to move 2 spaces. I'm actually going to move into the Père Lachaise for 2 actions. And then for my third action, I'm actually not going to play the art student. I'm going to investigate. And I'm going to not spend my resources yet. I'm going to investigate this at 3-2. No, because I can't. Yeah, no, I'm gonna. This is tricky. No, I will go ahead and switch into Seeker and spend my third action to play the art student. And that costs 2 resources, which I will pay. And that will allow me to discover a clue at this location, which gets rid of the Spires of Carcosa. Gets rid of that doom in the Spires of Carcosa. And then Lola and Mark will together spend their 2 clues. No rush on that. Let's wait. Because I want to be able to save 1 back for in case I draw that hunting shadow. So we'll let that rest. So Lola moved twice and played the art student, and that's the end. We're done with the investigation phase. Enemy phase, the Organist is going to hunt to La Marais. That is the closest to both of us. So Notre Dame and then La Marais, and he's going to hang out there. And now Lola definitely needs to get a move on to keep from getting hunted down, but I do have that shortcut with Mark I can use, because Mark's not going to want to take all that horror. That's for sure. Okay, and yep, and that is the end of the enemy phase, and now we move into the upkeep. So I'm going to go ahead and, just in case I take some damage or horror, I'm going to go ahead and use the Venturer to pop another grenade on there. That's a fast action I can do. And then I'll reset. Draw. Ooh, I got my weakness. Secretly add this to your hand if you successfully investigate a location with no clues on it. Okay, so I'll have to get about the business of doing that at a later date. And then I take a resource, putting me at 6. And then Lola will reset. Draw a card. Oh, very nice. Hyper awareness. Okay, that's going to come in really handy because I'm going to be able to pump. I've got a good amount of money I'm sitting on here to be able to pump for clues or evasion. So I will take that gladly and take a 5th resource. And I'm done. All right, next round. Doom number 4 of 6 on the agenda. Yeah. All right, and then we draw. Mark's card is, oh, that Sign of Hastur again. Okay, now, so that means that anytime anybody takes 1 or more horror, they take an additional horror twice. Oh, limit 1 per agenda or act. Oh, gross. So that means I have to attach this to the act deck. Ugh, that's rough. I can't do anything about it because I don't have one attached to the act deck. And that act deck doesn't go away until I survive 3 nights. So that means horror is going to be worse, a lot worse. And then Lola's card is Torturous Chords. All right, I knew this one was coming. Test Willpower 5. If you fail, now let's see, I might take this with Mark. Because I really don't want to increase Lola's costs. Yeah, I will take this with Mark, who's got money and not much to spend it on. I will say, let me handle this with Mark. I take the Torturous Chords from her. And I get +2 while resolving this card's abilities. So that puts me at 5 to 5 on this test, which I will take. And I got a -3. All right, so I put 3 resources on it. It's going to increase the costs of my next 3 cards by 1 apiece, which I'm not too worried about with Mark right now. He's got some money. I don't have a ton of stuff I'm wanting to spend. So that'd be fine. And that is the end of the Mythos phase. So let's go ahead and Lola can just book it around. 1, 2, 3. Boy, she can't actually get far enough away. Ah, yes, she can. Okay, so Lola will go ahead and just spend her entire round moving. And I'm going to move 1 to the Canal Saint-Martin. And then I'm going to move another one into Montmartre. You've heard this district to be vibrant and friendly, but the streets feel unusually lonely to you. And this is a 2-shroud location with 2 clues. And you can spend a resource, take an action and spend a resource to add a supply or ammo token to a card you control. Well, interesting. That's great for Mark. Though I don't really need it right now, but I'll not be sad that it exists. It has 2 clues and 2 shroud, which is gettable. And then I will spend my 3rd action and I will move into the, let's go into the Opera Garnier. And this says, the Palais Garnier is an ornate architectural masterpiece and one of the most famous opera houses in the world. Strangely, you find the main doors thrown wide open and a dark mist creeps out from the doorway. This is also the location of the Phantom of the Opera. 5 shroud and 2 clues. While you are investigating Opera Garnier, double the number of skill icons on cards committed to this test. Okay, so 5 shroud, but you can double your skill icons. That's pretty good. Get 2 clues. But only on cards committed. That wouldn't count for hyper-awareness unless you commit hyper-awareness. And that's Lola's 3 actions, just moving around the circle. But that's what we're trying to do here, is stay away. 1, 2, 3. And I'm going to go ahead and switch roles with Lola back to Guardian, or to Survivor. We want to make it all the way around the circle ideally here. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, Mark is going to go ahead and move into Montmartre for his first action. I will move into the Opera for my second action. And I will, while I'm there, I'm going to go ahead and play Shortcut. And I'm going to choose an investigator at my location, that's Lola, and move her to a connecting location. I'm going to move her down to Gare d'Orsay, down to the train station. Built in 1900, this train station was the first urban station in the world to use only electric trains. The more you know. All right, this is 4 shroud and 2 clues. It says, you'd expect the station to be bustling, but it is eerily abandoned, save for a few passengers who wander the station in slow, meandering steps. And so I've kicked Lola down to there, and that is a 4 shroud with 2 clues. Go ahead and dig out my clues here. And then Mark will take his third action to move down into the Gare d'Orsay with Lola, keeping him out of range of the Organist as well. So that looks pretty good, and not much done there, just kind of running away. But that's all we're trying to do, is survive 3 nights right now. Maybe pick up a couple VP along the way. And that is the end of the investigation phase. Enemy phase, the Organist is going to hunt. And I will take him, let's see, he could either hunt around to the Opera Garnier or down to either of these 2. I'll go ahead and have him come Montmartre and to the Opera. And I suppose that's Opera. And that is the end of the enemy phase. Then we reset. Mark draws a card, which is another venturer. Nice to have the soak, though that's awfully expensive these days. And then I take a 7th resource. And Lola will reset and draw an act of desperation, which is, you know, that's nice. But honestly, I don't think there's a lot to kill for Lola. So we'll see. I'll keep it. I'm sitting at 8 cards in hand now, so I'm going to have to start doing something. And we will go ahead and take a... oh, I meant to do this before. It doesn't matter. I'm going to take a fast action, spend my 2 clues, and put another Doom on the agenda so that we advance next time. And that is the end of the round. I need to get a resource for Lola, putting her at 6. All right, and then we're going to put a new round. We're going to put a Doom on the agenda, putting us at 6 of 6. And we advance. See if we survive. We survived the first night. I don't actually remember what happens. I think it's good for us, though. Birds start to chirp eagerly. An orange tint slowly spreads across the sky as the creatures of the night shrink back into the darkness. You spend most of the day resting, and the daylight passes quickly with very little to show for it. Before you are able to fully recover from the previous night's events, it is evening once more. Each investigator disengages from each enemy engaged with him or her and may move to a connecting location. Move the Organist 1 location away from the nearest investigator, to a location with no investigators if possible. Okay, so we can slide 1 away. I'm going to leave Lola here, but I'm going to go ahead and move Mark down to Montparnasse. And then I'm going to move the Organist back up to the Grand Guignol. Okay, that's that. So that gives us a little bit of a reprieve from the Organist for a hot sec. And then we go ahead and draw a couple cards. So the sign of H-Man, almost said it again. The sign of H-Man is discarded, and, and I'm gonna draw 2 cards. So Mark's card is, for Pete's sake, the Spires of Carcosa. All right, well, it's on another 2 shroud location, so I can't be too upset about that. But come on. I think there's only 2 of these in the deck, so at least I got through them. We put 2 Doom on that location. Actually, that's kind of fortuitous because I can potentially get rid of Mark's weakness and get rid of a Doom at the same time. So, yeah, I guess I'll try to think positively about that. And then Lola's card. Oh, hello, a Stealthy Bayaki. All right, I can't do anything about that. I'll have to have Mark come up and do something about that, which would be fine. So the subtraction from the Doom threshold right now from the 2 Doom on Montparnasse doesn't really matter because we're not anywhere close to the next threshold, but those 2 are gonna need to go away as we get a couple more rounds down the road. Now that said, Lola's now sitting at 6 investigations, so she's in a pretty good spot for dealing with the clues on Garde Orsay. So let's do that. But we'll do that after Mark takes care of the Bayaki. Which is a bit of a problem situation because then we've got Mark throwing dynamite with Lola in the room, and that doesn't seem like a very good idea. That is the downside to the dynamite, obviously. What is Lola's shots at being able to get away from this guy? I could hit him with an act of desperation for sure. And I'd be hitting him at pretty good odds. Yeah, I'll let Lola take care of herself. Let's go ahead and do that. I'm in Survivor, so let's go ahead and survive. I will spend my first action to play Act of Desperation, and I will toss a 45 automatic from my hand. So Act of Desperation will give me a +4 because the 45 automatic costs 4, and that is going to deal 2 damage if I can succeed. So this is 8 to 5, dealing 2 damage. Oh, I got an Elder Sign. Very nice. Okay, so that's successful. The Stealthy Bayaki is dead. Act of Desperation again. Mattastrophic, are you watching? Because I just got... it worked again. Nice work, man. Nice work. I got, let's see. I don't get anything else from that because that was in my hand. Other than the feeling of satisfaction that I just pistol whipped a Bayaki to death without using any bullets. Or even equipping the weapon. I just threw it from my backpack or something. All right, and then let's see. For my second action... let's go ahead and investigate. I am at 6 to 4 on this investigation. I will not commit anything. And I draw a Elder thing, which is -2. Okay, I was successful. I was kind of hoping to fail, but I'll take the clue. And then for my third action, I gotta get moving. So I will come down here to Montparnasse, I think. Yeah, because he's gonna come this way no matter what. If I had put him in Montmartre, I would have been able to draw him the other way. It doesn't matter. I'll move down into Montparnasse. Yep. And that's it for Lola. And I will stay in Survivor at the end of the round. Now Mark, on the other hand, is in a better shape to be able to try and take care of a couple different businesses here. I'm going to go ahead and investigate this location. I'm at 2-2, and I'm going to commit the extra venturer out of my hand to go 3-2. Yeah, I'll just do that. I'll go 3-2. Oh no, there's 2 doom in play, so skulls are -2. Yeah, it's total doom in play. Ugh, ugly. I'm going to draw a card first. Mark is going to draw a card first to see what we get. Another shortcut. All right. I will draw one more card. And on the hunt. Okay, that's fine. It's nice. And then for my third action, I will investigate, and I'm going to commit that on the hunt. It's a nice card, but I want the +2. So the venturer and the on the hunt to go 4-2 to investigate this location. That will take care of the skulls and the elder things. And I draw, an elder thing. Good. So elder thing is a -2, and if you fail, something happens, but I didn't fail. The on the hunt and the venturer go away. I get rid of one of the doom, and I get rid of my signature weakness, or my basic weakness, which says, after you successfully investigate a location with no clues on it, discard this card from your hand. So the Spires of Carcosa put doom on the location, but no clues. So that is a legal place to do that. So, not bad. Usually it's a wasted action, so I turn that into a semi-wasted action. And that is the end of that investigation phase. Now the Organist hunts us down to the Gare d'Orsay. 1, 2. Still 1 jump ahead. And then we're going to reset. Mark will reset and draw. Shell shock. Okay, for every 2 damage on you, take 1 horror. All right, I have 4 damage, so I take 2 horror. How do I want to handle that? But I'll just take the 2 horror. Yeah, take the 2 horror, putting me at 3 horror out of 5. Not so good. Might be time to go ahead and get that Enchanted Blade into play. And then Lola will reset and draw. Yes, it's my Crisis of Identity. All right, so I have to get rid of my newspaper. So that's the only card I controlled in Survivor. It's going to happen eventually. Then discard the top card of my deck, which is another art student. That's sad. And so I switch to Seeker. Okay. And take a resource. Putting me at 7, putting Mark at 8. And we're back to the next round. Doom 1 of 5 on the agenda. That's actually 0 of 5, given that I have a Doom in play on Montparnasse. And let's draw a couple encounter cards. Mark's encounter card is... good, a monster. Swift Bayaki. It says, when it would move via the hunter keyword, move it 1 space at a time until it enters the prey's location. And then if it moved more than 1 space, it doesn't attack. But even better, it's engaged with Mark. So everybody's happy about that. And Lola's encounter card is Torturous Chords. All right, well, here we go. I can't do anything about this. I got to test it. 4 to 5. I will not commit anything to this. I'll just take it. So 4 to 5. Ooh, I forgot. When Mark took the horror from Shell Shock, I take an extra horror. So I'm actually at 4 of 5 horror. Oh, that's bad. So bad. So bad. All right, Lola's 4 to 5 is a skull, which is -2 right now. So I take the torturous chords with 3 resources on it. Let me just make sure Mark didn't play anything that had a cost. No, just committed. Okay, and that is the end of the Mythos phase. All right, we're starting to get bogged down a little bit here. So I'm going to have to think about what to do. Mark could certainly get the heck out of Dodge. With plenty of time to kill that thing. Has Retaliate. Okay, let's just go ahead and he's got a very low health threshold. I'm going to go first with Lola so I can get the heck out of here. Lola will go first, and she will go ahead and investigate here at 4 to 2. And do I want to do anything about that? There's only 2 doom in play, so skulls are okay. 4 to 2 it is. And I got a 0. Okay, so I got that doom removed. Spires of Carcosa number 2 is gone. And that was my first action. I need to move twice in order to be able to... Mark could kill, move. Yeah, okay. So Mark's going to go ahead and play his shortcut. Can't do it. I can only play it during his turn. Nuts. Okay, so then Lola's going to just move twice around to La Marais. So she'll move 1, 2, around to there for her last 2 actions. And I'm going to swap back to Survivor, since that's a safe place to be right now. And I'm done with Lola. And then Mark's first action will be to attack the Swift Bayaki. And I'm going to go ahead and commit the home front to this. So this is going to be a way overkill. And I will spend a resource, spend a grenade to do this. And that's going to be +3, so I'm at 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So 12 to 2. 12 to 2. Hopefully I won't draw the -11 out of the bag. Oh, shouldn't have said that. I got a -3. All right, so that's a Kablawi. That does an extra damage because after I'm done hitting him for 2, I move a damage from Mark to the Swift Bayaki, and that is enough to kill him. Wishing I had an evidence, but I don't. But it does heal Mark for 1. One damage, which is not 1 sanity, so that's unfortunate. I would like to get... Boy, I'm tempted to use that shortcut right now, so I have an extra action to get the enchanted blade into play, because I need to start swinging with that blade. I'm going to do that. I'm going to spend the shortcut to move up to Notre Dame. And then I'm going to spend my second action to move up to La Marais with Lola as well. And then for my third action, I will play the Enchanted Blade. The shortcut cost me a resource because of Torturous Chords. I'll spend that, leaving me 2 resources on Torturous Chords. And then the Enchanted Blade costs 4. So I'll spend 4 and remove 1 from Torturous Chords. Torturous Chords is down to 1 resource, and I am paid up. I have 3 resources remaining, and I've got 3 charges on the blade, which can let me heal some horror, which is greatly needed right now because Mark is teetering on the edge of sanity death. And that is the end of the investigation phase. Enemy phase. The Organist moves twice and it's going to take him to Notre Dame no matter what. Actually, not true at all. I am exactly halfway across the loop, so I could take him up to Montmartre also if I wanted to. But now I want to swing him. I want to swing around this way. So let's take him over to Notre Dame. And that's the end of the enemy phase. And we're going to draw some cards. So reset. Mark will draw a Vicious Blow. Okay, I'll take a resource, put him in at 4. And Lola will reset and draw Prepared for the Worst, which does have a investigation icon on it, intellect icon, because I don't think I'm going to want to go for a weapon in this scenario. And I'll take a resource, putting me at 8. All right, 2 doom on the agenda out of 5. I need to get this cranking here. I'm not going to live 3 nights if I don't speed this up. So let's go ahead and draw a couple encounter cards. Mark's card. Hopefully nothing that deals horror. A Praying by Aki. All right, it's an enemy. I'll take it. Oh man, is that terrific. Okay, great. So that's going to give me something to swing at with my blade. Hopefully get a little bit of juice back in my sanity caboose. And then Lola will draw her encounter card, which is Deadly Fate. All right, test Revelation, test Willpower 3. If you fail, discard cards from the top of the encounter deck until an enemy is discarded. Okay. All right, well, first let's test Willpower 3. And I'll go ahead and just take that test. So I'm at 4 to 3. Certainly not terrible odds. Hey, got a -1. I did not fail. So that's great. All right, so let's go ahead and go first with Mark, and I'm going to go ahead and activate the ability on La Marée. When your turn begins, if you are there, draw a card. Now that's a group limit once per round, so Mark's going to take the card that's there. And it is Emergency Aid. Okay, that's fine, but it only heals damage, not horror. But the healing will then allow him to be able to pump with Sophie. Okay, what I really would like to see is my Enchanted Mirror. I haven't seen that yet. All right, and then here we go. Mark is going to go ahead and... Oh, you know what? I really want Lola to go first. I'll retcon that. That's no big deal. Mark will put that card back. I'll have Lola go first. No, that's cheating. I will not do that. I'll have Mark go first. Draw the Emergency Aid, and then I'm going to go ahead and swing. I'm swinging with the Enchanted Blade. I will spend a charge. Nope, I don't need to spend a charge. First, I'll attack. And I'm attacking at 7 to 5. And I will add a Vicious Blow to that to go 8 to 5. And because I cannot afford to fail, I will also add a 32 Colt to that and go 9 to 5. There is a -4 in the bag, so let's go 9 to 5. And I got a Skull, which is -2 right now. Yeah. So that's successful, and I deal 1 extra damage with the Vicious Blow, and then I will spend a charge off the Enchanted Blade, and I will deal an additional damage. So I'm doing 3 damage, and that will defeat the Praying by Aki. And because I defeated an enemy with the enchanted blade, I am going to draw a card and heal a horror. Hooray, that's the horror I needed healed. And I will draw a let me handle this, okay? That was action number 1, was smoking that guy. All right, let's see. Action number 2 and 3 are probably gonna be to get away. Because 2 doesn't quite get me away. Yeah, fair enough. 2 and 3, I'm gonna go ahead and get away to Montmartre and to the Opera. Round the circle we go. And that's it for Mark. Didn't play anything that cost, nope, did not. Okay, and then we're back to Lola for 3 actions. She is in Survivor. I lost my newspaper, but that's okay. I can go ahead and do my first action. I will investigate this location for my first action at 4 to 3. Those are bad odds, but I want them to be. Four to 3, all right. I got a -2. Finally screwed it up. So that's a fail. So I will go ahead and play Look What I Found for 2 resources. 3 resources, make it. I'll spend 3 on that. Get rid of 1 of the torturous chords, leaving it with 2. And I will discover 2 clues at my location. Zip zap. That's great. That gives us 3 clues as a team right now. Almost enough to get us out of here. And then I will follow, for my next 2 actions, I will follow Mark. 1, 2, round the circle. And that is the end of the investigation phase. Quick and easy. Grab a couple clues and run. Enemy phase, the Organist will chase us around which way? Let's see. That the 2 clues at Montmartre are looking pretty juicy. Let's have him come around this way over to Gare d'Orsay. All right, and then that is it for the enemy phase, and then we untap and upkeep. And we will draw a card with Mark, who gets another well-maintained. Okay. Yeah, okay. Well, I can put that on the enchanted blade. Take a resource, putting me at 5. And Lola will reset and draw, oh, interesting. Okay, a Silver Twilight Acolyte. Okay, and that is the end of the round, and we move on to the next round. Okay, so we put a Doom on the agenda, puts us at 3 out of 5. So we have enough clues that this is advanceable if we can grab 1 more clue. So 3 out of 5, and then we go ahead and draw. Mark's card is Twin Sons. All right, Revelation, test intellect 4. If you fail, you must either remove a Doom from the current agenda or take a horror for each point you failed by. Whoa, that's terrible. That is terrible. All right, that's going to take a little help from his friends for sure. I will go ahead and take a Sophie on that test. So I'll take a damage, which will draw me a card, which is a True Grit. That's very nice. And take, let's see, that puts me at 4 to 4 on the test. And then I will commit an emergency aid. And look what I found. I can commit that. Yes, I can. I am still in Survivor. I will commit those two to give him another +3. So he's at 7 to 4 on this test. Cannot fail this. And 7 to 4 says Skull, which is -3. Whoa, just barely. Just barely made it. This is why you don't spend those clues too early, because it makes the skulls worse. But we succeeded at that test. Twin Sons is discarded. All right, and then Lola's card is Hunted by Bayaki. All right, test agility 6. If you fail, reveal top cards and see what happens. All right, agility 6. I am at 4 to 6 on this test. I will not commit anything. Oh, Elder Sign. Oh man, that's awesome. That's +2. And that's successful. I did not fail. I don't have to worry about any more enemies. Wow, fancy. And I get to switch roles if I want to. I'm almost out of Survivor cards. Let's switch. I haven't changed intentionally this round. Let's switch to Seeker. Not bad at all. All right, so here's the plan. Mark is going to go first. And I will spend my first action to punch the Silver Twilight Acolyte. Just punch him. I'm just going to, right in the face. And that's going to be 5 to 2. I will not commit anything to that. Oh, well, there's no reason to punch him. I could hit him with the Enchanted Blade, right? Because you don't have to spend charges. Yeah, I'll just hit him with the blade. 7 to 2. That's a skull, so that's -3 right now? Yeah, -3. So that's successful, and I deal 1 damage to the Silver Twilight Acolyte. I will not spend a charge on that. And then for my second action, I will hit him again. Also with the Enchanted Blade at 7 to 2. And that's a -3. That's successful. And I will spend a charge in this case. And that will kill the Silver Twilight Acolyte, which goes in Lola's discard pile. And because it killed the enemy, I will draw a card and heal a horror. So that takes me back down to 2 horror out of 5. And I draw a card, which is another emergency aid. All right, terrific. And I think I'm going to risk standing my ground here. I don't think I'm going to run because I can't run far enough away. And I think I'm going to be able to advance this. So then what do I want to play here? Yeah, okay. So then what I'm going to do for my third action is I'm going to spend 3 resources and play Emergency Aid. And I will heal 2 damage from myself to open up some more room for Sophie. And that cost me 3 resources, leaving me with 2. And that is the end of Mark's turn. Pretty good, pretty good. Lola, it is incumbent upon her to get a clue. To save everyone. Though I could certainly take the hit on the Organist if I failed it. Move, grab the clue, yeah. So I'm going to spend my first action to move in to Beaumont. I will spend my second action to try to grab a clue there, and I am at 4 to 2. on this test. Do I dare? No, that's wrong. I'm going to spend my second action to play Hyper Awareness because I am in Seeker. And that cost me 2 resources, leaving me with 4. That cost me 3 resources, leaving me with 3. And puts 1 on Torturous Chords. Oh, and my Torturous Chords with Mark is gone. Lola's still got 1 more left. All right, and then I'm going to pump this test. So I would be at 4 to 2. There are 3 Doom in play. So I'm going to pump by 1. I'm going to spend 1 resource and go up to 5 to 2. And let's see what I get. 5 to 2 to grab a clue. I am forgetting a very important rule, which is I can only pay once per round. Forgot about that entirely. Okay, so I hadn't thought about that. That's fixable, I think. I can't go back and spend those last round or anything crazy like that. But what I will do is I will back up Lola's playing of Hyper Awareness. So I'm going to put a resource back on Torturous Chords and give myself 3 resources back. And take Hyper Awareness back. Take back 2 actions. So my first action will indeed be to move into Montmartre. My second action will be to investigate there at 4 to 2. I am going to swap into Guardian. Can't do that. Nope. I will stay in Seeker, and I will commit the Hyper Awareness. Ugh, yuck, yuck, yuck. So commit the Hyper Awareness, and I'll go 5 to 2. Oh, good. -3. Good thing I committed that. All right, and that allows me to grab a clue out of Montmartre, which gives me 4, which is actually less important than I thought it was. And I will go ahead and spend 2 of them to put a Doom on the current agenda. And I will spend my third action to move back in to the Opera Garnier. So I can take the hit from the Organist, because Mark won't survive it. And that is the end of that. Okay, enemy phase. The Organist moves in and engages Lola. He does not have a prey instruction, so I can do that. And let's go ahead and take so I take 3, actually 4 horror. I'll take 2 of it on the art student, and I'll take the other 2 on myself, putting me at 3 out of 6. And that is the end of the enemy phase. Let's go ahead and reset. I'm just loath to spend, I can spend clues to evade the Organist automatically. I just really don't want to do that because I want to be able to stay away from him and spend the clues to advance the agenda. I still actually want to do that, but I think I'll get out of that because of the flip from night 2 to night 3. So then Mark will reset and he will draw another vicious blow, okay, and take a resource, putting him at 3. And Lola will reset, and she will draw, oh my, well that's super cool. I got a scene of the crime. And I've got the Organist sitting right here with me. Oh, but he won't be here with me at the beginning of the round. Ah, nuts. Maybe that'll work next time. Okay, well maybe I don't have to move the organist. We'll see. If I don't have to, I might not, because that lets me grab 2 clues. It's 1 free clue either way. Yeah. Okay, that's cool. And then I will take a resource, putting me at 6. And that's the end of the round. All right, Doom on the agenda, 5 out of 5, and we are advancing. A red sun rises. To your relief, the sun once again begins to rise, peaking just over the eastern horizon and casting long shadows across the city streets. You are completely exhausted from the night's events. It feels as though you haven't slept in weeks. Perhaps you haven't. Each investigator disengages from each enemy engaged with him or her. Okay, so the organist disengages from me and may move to a connecting location. The organist is going to move whether I want him to or not. So yeah, let's go ahead and let's move up here to, I'm going to move both of us to Montmartre. And then the organist, 1 location away from the nearest investigator, will go back down here to Gare d'Orsay. All right, check the campaign log. If Jordan Perry is not listed under VIPs slain, search the collection for Jordan Perry, an imposing presence, and spawn him in Montparnasse. We did not kill Jordan Perry, so I got to go get him. All right, Jordan Perry, an imposing presence, is a 2-fight, 2-evade, 8 health enemy who's worth no victory points, and he hunts at the beginning of the enemy phase. Heal a damage from him. So he's just a big monstrosity. Doesn't hit very hard, but he's going to get in our way. He only hunts once, unlike our friend the organist. He starts in Montparnasse. And we are on to the 3rd night. I'm going to get 5 more here in play, and then we can succeed at this. Fingers crossed. And let's see, that was the flip of the agenda, so now I got to draw a couple encounter cards. So Mark's encounter card is, ooh, here's the new one, Figure in the Shadows. Check the campaign log. If you have more or equal doubt than conviction, move the organist 1 location away from the nearest investigator. I have more conviction than doubt. Yes, I do. If you have more conviction than doubt, resolve the organist's hunter keyword. Well, that is interesting. That is interesting. Yeah, okay. I'm going to put him engaged with Mark. So he's going to hunt, resolve the hunter keyword, and then resolve it again. He cannot attack this phase, but this phase would be the Mythos phase. So he's engaged with Mark. It's an interesting twist on things. Okay, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. And then Lola's card is Hunting Shadow. Yes, you must either spend a clue or take 2 damage. Blah. Blah. Boy, spend a clue's rough right now. No thanks. I don't want to spend a clue. I'll take the 2 damage. Puts me at 4 out of 6 health, but I still have a perseverance in case I need it. And Mark still has a true grit as long as we hang together. It's iffy, but what isn't? And we're off to the investigation phase. Now I do have and an auto evade on the Organist. So I have a free clue. But I don't know that I want an auto evade on the Organist. I think I can just evade him the old-fashioned way. But because I don't know if that's going to work, I'm going to try that first. So Mark is going to go first. I'm going to spend my first action to try to evade the Organist. So this is a 3-3 on the evade with Mark. I will take a damage, taking me to 3 damage, 3 health out of 9. And I will draw a card. Draw an emergency cash. All right. And that will put me at 5-3. I will also commit a well-maintained to go 6-3 on the evade. I don't need it. I'll keep the well-maintained. 5-3 is fine with the current situation. 5-3 on the evade. And that puts us at -1. Cool. All right. So I evaded the Organist, which is our first time we've done that. And that does buy us a little extra time for sure. And Jordan Perry will come up one or the other way. Let's see what I want to do here. Mark could take one more Sophie to grab a clue. I like that play. Seems pretty good. Although Lola could grab this clue with scene of the crime. It'd better to do that at a higher shroud location, but beggars can't be choosers. Let's see here. Let's think about this. Yeah, I'll hold scene of the crime, see if I can use it at a better time. I'm going to take another damage with Mark to investigate. And this is going to be 4-2 on this investigation. I will not commit anything. And we are pulling out a skull, which right now there is no doom in play at all, so that's a 0. So I get that clue. Puts us at 3 clues together. And then for my third action, I will play True Grit. Better move. I'll move. I'll do that next round. And I'm going to move up to Canal Saint-Martin. And then for Lola's first action, I can't play Scene of the Crime right now. I'm still in Seeker, which doesn't make any sense. We'll see how things go. I'm gonna move over to Père-Lachaise, I think. I'd like to get the clues off of both of those locations. You know, while the Chaos bag is pretty friendly right now with those skulls being, all the more reason to go to Père-Lachaise. So, tricky. No, I'll go over to Père-Lachaise. I'm gonna go 1, 2. I'm gonna move 2. I'm gonna go ahead and switch into Guardian. And I'm going to investigate at 4-2. And 4-2 yields up a 0. Okay, so take a clue. Puts me at 3 and puts Mark at 1. And I will, let me do the math on this. Do this 1, 1, 2. Yeah, I will not spend any this round. No, yes I will. I will spend 2 clues right now. Mark will spend 1, and Lola will spend 1, leaving Lola with 2, and we will put a doom on the agenda. All right, that is it for the investigation phase. Tricky decisions. Enemy phase. Jordan Perry is going to hunt into Notre Dame. All right, that's an easy decision. And that's it for the enemy phase. The Organist will be reset. And then we will go ahead and draw a couple cards. Mark will draw. Oh, Lost Soul. All right, so here's the thing. If you have more conviction than doubt, we do have this thing. Test willpower X, where X is your intellect. All right, test willpower 2. If you fail, take 2 damage. It's ugly, but I'm not going to worry about it right now. All right. I'm testing 3 to 2. Let's go ahead and commit a dynamite blast here. I don't think I'm going to need it or be able to afford it. I'll go 4 to 2 on this test. Got a -3. So failed it anyway. I take 2 damage. I will take both of that damage on the Venturer and say goodbye to him. Lost charge on him, but I haven't been using my grenades anyway. Haven't had a lot of grenade targets where Lola wasn't hanging around. And that's that. Then I take a resource. And then Lola will reset. And she will draw another hyper awareness. Oh, this is the level 2 hyper awareness. Yeah, I kind of forgot I leveled that up. That's nice. Okay, good. And I will take a resource, putting me at 7. All right. Next round, Doom 2 out of 5 on the final agenda. And a couple encounter cards. Gulp. Mark will draw the first card. And it is, a Praying by Akim. All right, he gets that card. And let's see. I have to use my agility to fight him. Well, that's no fun. I kind of forgot that was the case. Huh, how does that work? Plus, while you are at Canal Saint-Martin, you must use your fight in place of your agility and vice versa. Interesting. So while I'm there, it's easy to get away from him. Excuse me. But harder to fight him. Makes sense, I'm in the water, I guess. And then Lola will draw Marked by the Sign. Oh, the Man in the Pallid Mask. We haven't seen him yet, have we? No. Test willpower 2. If you fail, take 2 horror. This is peril, so I can't help her out. If you fail, take 2 horror, which would be 3 horror, which would be the end of the road for Lola. If the Man in the Pallid Mask is in play, horror is dealt as direct horror. That doesn't matter. But the test would have +2 difficulty. So I am testing this at 4 to 2. I'll take it straight up, 4 to 2. Oh, during the fast action portion of this test, I'm going to change roles into Survivor. So 4 to 2. I drew a skull, which is -2. All right. Cool. So that's successful. Nothing bad happens. Whew. close, so close. Too close. All right, we are getting boxed in a little bit here. And by a little bit, I mean a lot. Lola can... So we'll be able to put... I'll be able to put one more Doom on the agenda right now, which will put us at 4. So one of the next 2 turns, it doesn't matter. So I think right now I'm not going to put it on. If I can get 2 more clues, then I can auto-evade the Organist. I think that's definitely the right play. Slow him down and keep him out of the picture for right now. And have the extra clues to advance next round. Or to push the turn next round. Okay, so that said, let's go first with Lola. I have switched myself out of being able to use hyper awareness. So let's just try to get some clues. 4 to 2. Hold on. For my first action, I will play Scene of the Crime. There is no enemy at my location, but I don't care. So I'll spend 3 resources to play Scene of the Crime, getting rid of one of the torturous chords. And I will discover a clue at my location. So let's just do that one for free. All right, that puts me at 3. And then for my second action, I will investigate committing. I can't commit hyper awareness, that's cheating. I'll just go 4 to 2. And I get a skull, which is great because that's exactly what I wanted. That's -2. And I get that last clue on Père Lachaise, putting me at 4 clues. All right, very nice. And then for my third action, I will move into Canal Saint-Martin. And that is that. Done with Lola. Mark. I'm going to evade the praying by a key. Let's see, I have sanity 4 or lower, definitely. I only have 3 sanity. So his stats are, he has 2 evade. So I have to use my strength instead of my agility. So I'm at 5 to 2 on the evade. We'll just let that happen. And I got an Elder Thing, which is -2, right? Yes. Okay, so that's a successful evade on him. All right, and then I will spend my second action to move in with the Organist, who will engage me. And then I will use a free action to use the ability on the act to spend 2 clues as a group. Lola will spend them to automatically evade the Organist. So he is evaded. Yeah. And then for Mark's third action, I'll move back in to the Canal Saint-Martin. Yeah. Move back in with Lola. All right, that's it for the investigation phase. Whew, this is close. Enemy phase, Jordan Perry hunts up to La Marais. And then we reset. Mark resets and draws a Steadfast. Okay, that's nice to have. Don't have a ton of remaining health and sanity, but I'll take it. I'll take resource number 5. And then Lola will reset and draw another newspaper. not all that useful right now. And take resource number 5. All right, and then we are back to the next round. Oh yes, the Organist is now ready to go, and the Praying Bayaki will go back in with Mark. Lowest remaining sanity would certainly be, well, it'd be either one of us with 3 left apiece. That's the pray instruction. So everybody's equal there, so he'll just go ahead and go to Mark. And that's that. 3 doom of 5 on the agenda. Encounter cards. Mark. Twisted to his will. All right, if there is no doom in play, twisted to his will, gain surge. Otherwise, test willpower X, where X is the amount of doom in play. All right, so willpower 3. If you fail, discard 2 cards at random from your hand. I just don't care about that. I'll just test that. So testing willpower 3, and I'm at 3, so 3 to 3. I will not commit anything. I got a -1. So I discard 2 cards from my hand at random. All right, let's just go ahead and shuffle these up. Let's do this as simpatico as I can. All right, 2 cards at random. Steadfast and Vicious Blow. All right. I really wanted to keep the Let Me Handle This, which I did get to keep, because I might need it right now. Lola's card is another Stealthy by a Key. Okay. Yes. Yes, I will play Let Me Handle This. Mark will gladly take that card off of her hands. All right, so nobody died in the Mythos phase. That's a big deal. So we need to survive this round. Lola can take the hit from the Organist. With Perseverance. And the Jordan Perry hit can go on Mark. So I think we just stand our ground. We just literally stand our ground here. So Lola's gonna go first. And I'm gonna switch into, ooh, yuck. I'd like to be in Seeker, but I'm gonna run the risk. I haven't drawn either of my improvisations. I'd really like to get the 2 clues that are here, and I'm kind of wishing I had that scene of the crime. All right, well, I'm at 4 to 3 on these investigations. Mark could actually take the hit from the Organist. Oh, no, not with the sign of H-Man. That's 4 damage, 4 sanity from the Organist, so that's not happening. I'm just trying to figure out a way to get the 2 clues off of this location to get a victory point. That's all I'm pondering about right now. All right, let's figure that out second. Mark is going to evade the Praying Bayaki at 5 to 2. Because of the location, I'm using my evade instead of fight and vice versa. So 5 to 2 on the evade. So -2, had a little battery problem there. And so that's successful. He's evaded. And then I'm going to evade the Stealthy Bayaki at 5 to 3. And I will commit a Well-Maintained to go 6 to 3. Oh no, it doesn't work that way. I have to commit. I have to commit strength. All right, I can't do that. So I'll just go 5 to 3 again. And I failed that evade, but he's not alert. So I'll try it again, and I'll do my third action. And I will evade him again at 5 to 3. And I got a -1. Okay, so that's successful. I evaded the 2 enemies that are there with us. That's it for Mark. Okay, Lola. Let's go ahead before I forget and spend my 2 clues to put a doom on the agenda, putting us at 4 out of 5. All right, and then action number 1, I will investigate at 4 to 3. Nothing I can do to help this out. I got a tentacle, so that's, I think, what the game is telling me about that. All right, I will investigate again. I will commit a newspaper to go 5 to 3. I got the tentacle again. Okay, well, so those victory points are no longer obtainable. So thank you very much, the Mythos, for letting me know that I was not meant to have those victory points. And for my third action, then, what am I going to do? Certainly drawing a card is far too dangerous. I'm going to be the one taking it from the Organist. I'll just move in and engage the Organist. So he doesn't hunt. All right, and then that is that. That is the end of the investigation phase. Enemy phase, the Organist, the Hunter's Hunt. Jordan is going to hunt into, I'll hunt into Mark's domain up there in the canal, and the Organist does not move. And then we're both going to get hit. So Jordan hits Mark for a damage and a horror, which he has to take both. The damage puts him at 5, which flips Sophie. It was all my fault. And the horror puts him at 3, horror out of 5. The Organist hits Lola for 4 horror. Oh, actually, I take an extra horror from Jordan Perry, putting me at 4 out of 5 horror because of the sign of H-Man attached to the agenda. And then Lola takes 4 horror from the Organist, which she cannot survive. So I will play for 3 resources and my final torturous chords, which goes away. I will play Perseverance, as shown here on the screen. Play when you are assigned damage and a horror that would defeat you. I will cancel up to all 4 of that damage or horror. And that prevents Lola from dying. And that is the end of the enemy phase. Survived it. Then we ready everything. Mark readies and draws. The man in the pallid mask. Oh, there he is. Spawns in the location furthest from all investigators. That's probably down here at Montparnasse. And I take a resource. And then Lola will reset. And she will draw her improvisation about dang time, too late. Those 2 wild icons are looking real juicy. And we'll take a resource, putting her at 3. the 2 Bayaki ready. I will engage them both with Mark. Putting him with Jordan Perry, the Praying Bayaki, and the Organist. Or the 2 Bayaki and Jordan Perry, and then the Organist is with Lola. So everybody's got lots of enemies on them. And then that's the end of the round. So then next round, 5th Doom of 5 on the agenda. And we have survived 3 nights. Let's see what happens. Agenda 3B, Dawn at Last. The sun rises and dispels the darkness. A warm fog envelops the city, blotting out the sky. Check your campaign log. If you have more conviction than doubt, advance to Act 2B. All right, Act 2B. You lose track of yourself within the city as you flee for your life. Your feet move of their own accord. The beating of sinewy wings and screeching of creatures above you spurs you onward. Soon, you find yourself running down a narrow avenue, passing a set of heavy iron gates. You are in a dead end, a court with tall old houses on either side. You turn back toward the entrance and breathe a sigh of relief as you see the sun rising once more over the skyline of Paris. As though dispersed by the sunlight, the figure that had been chasing you folds into the shadows and vanished. Just as you are about to leave, you spot a plaque next to a red-brown door atop a steep, narrow staircase. It reads, N. Engram. Check your campaign log. If you intruded on a secret meeting, we did not. Proceed to R2. Otherwise, proceed to R1. Resolution 1. Yay! We are winners, just barely. Boy, I was really worried with their low health and sanity totals that surviving 3 nights was just not going to be possible. But we did it. Now, we played it really safely in staying 2 away from the Organist all the time. You can stay, or staying 3 away. You can stay 2 away, and he'll engage you but not attack you. The problem then is that you have to spend actions evading him, and neither one of us are any good at that. So it seemed right to just pick away at clues as we could, and it worked. We ended up with no clues, and we have succeeded. Now, victory points wise, we had the Père Lachaise Cemetery and the Gardens of Luxembourg are both cleared off. We did not clear off the canal, and we never got to the Grand Guignol. I'm assuming that's a victory point location. It always is. Let's look. It is. Oh, man. I won't read that as a spoiler, but that would have been nice. Okay, and I'm guessing we'll get 2 XP plus whatever bonus we might get from the scenario, but not much probably. I don't think we earned any other ones. So that was a very fun scenario, very exciting, action-packed. I didn't know if we were going to make it, but we did. Blind playthroughs can be very, very difficult with these return to scenarios, but that one didn't change very much. Just some changed locations, and actually I only had 2 changed locations out there, and then a couple new cards that go into the encounter deck, and that's it. And so everything else is the same. So we were just sort of dealing with the usuals. The one that was new for the return that really was tricky was this one here, the Sign of almost said it, Hot Dog. And this thing is tricky. The extra horror is not something that this team is able to handle very well. Mark I got down to the last 7 cards in my deck, and I never got my mirror or either of my smoking pipes. My 2 bottom cards were my smoking pipes, which I needed badly. And then I had my Hallow Mirror was my next card. So I do think Mark might need a little bit more Sanity Soak or horror healing going forward, especially given that we are in Carcosa. I'll have to think about that. Maybe leveled up First Aid if I can afford it. Yeah, because he draws into it. Yeah, I think that might be a good play. Anyway, I will talk to you a little bit more about that when we get to our next video in the series, which will be the Return to Black Stars Rise. No, that's not true. Return to the Pallid Mask will be next. The Catacombs of Paris, which is a great scenario, a really fun one. I look forward to checking out what they have to changes that they've made to that Catacombs when we next return. But until then, thank you so much for joining me. You've been listening to I've Got a Plan. My name is Tim Fiskus, and I've enjoyed playing the scenario for you. I hope you're enjoying the Mark and Lola decks as they grow. I feel like they're versatile and powerful enough to succeed at some tough scenarios. And honestly, Lola is holding her own, not doing too badly. She's always playing behind the eight ball because of her restriction. But I think that this really cool deck by Mattastrophic and the choices that I've made to level it up have been pretty solid. And I look forward to seeing how well that can perform over the next 3 or 4 scenarios. If you're trying to reach me, you can always catch me at my Gmail, which is tpfiskus@gmail.com. You can reach me on my SoundCloud, which is Tim Paul, or I've Got a Plan Podcast. On Facebook at I've Got a Plan Podcast, all one word, no apostrophe. And you can also reach me around the place as Huckman T or I've Got a Plan on the Discords for Drawn to the Flame and the Mythos Busters, or on the Arkham Horror Facebook group page, Arkham Horror Card Game Facebook group page, or Reddit Arkham Horror group. Until next time, let's have fun.